Hi, welcome to StoryHive On Location, Kelowna. I'm Robb O'Day, and we're live in Kelowna with another incredible episode brought to you with support from TELUS STORYHIVE. Today we're sitting with one of Kelowna's heaviest vocalists from two of the, I'd say, heaviest and most incredibly talented and technical bands out of here, Plantkiller, Muscle Crow, and we are speaking with the incredibly thunderous Thor.
Thanks for having me.
How are you,
Good.
my friend?
Good, thanks.
Let's dive in right away with who you are, where you're from.
I'm from Kelowna. My name's Thor Eide. Been living here my whole life. I lived for 3 years, I lived in a small village in Port Alice on the island, north end of the island, and ever since I've lived here. Kelowna boy.
What initially got you into music, first of all, and then got you into becoming such a thunderous voice behind a microphone?
We had a CD player in my parents' new vehicle they bought when we moved to the island. And before that, I just listened to radios, nothing special, just like every other kid, how they grow up with their parents listening to classic rock on the radio. But once we got to the island, or about an hour and a half away from any other place nearby, and the one disc CD player in my parents' vehicle, they had tons of CDs, just one disc. So throw them in. So I learned like Foreigner and Supertramp, Boston, Styx, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, everything that was older, and that's kind of what started everything. I always loved to sing. I never really got into actually practicing anything like that until probably 2015 when I was working at Best Buy, and I had a friend in the musical department, Josh Reaver, who got me into things like Infinite Annihilator and other heavier deathcore bands. And I already knew about Job for a Cowboy, but wasn't really a big fan of all that stuff. I knew about it, I just hadn't gotten there yet. And then he's kind of the reason, honestly, that I got started and pushed into starting to practice in the car on the way home to and from work.
Do you think that, everybody I've met from the island is very laid back, calm, and there's like I like to call it an islander feel. Do you think that kind of, in some way, growing up there and then coming back home to the interior led to you in the way you are today?
I've always been a pretty quiet person. I do like performing for the right reasons. I'm not somebody who goes out and seeks attention or anything. It's kind of embarrassing for me, to be honest. And I thought that being on stage would be quite like nerve-wracking, but for some reason when I get up there, it just feels almost natural. But I've always kind of been more of a chill person, and the island more taught me how to be respectful to wildlife, and that's probably, if anything, what it had the biggest impact for me.
So when you begin your initial writing process with Plantkiller specifically, what is your main focus when you're trying to write a specific song that they've given you or an instrumental?
So it starts with the instrumental, which is usually made or entirely come up, I guess, created by Alex. Sometimes we'll hang out and we'll both kind of put our ideas in, and Breton will be there, or we're gonna, with Muscle Crow, gonna bring in Norm and Dave to try to get all of us brainstorming and put together some masterpiece. But usually I get an instrumental from Alex, and then it becomes just a thought process from there. And I kind of think about all the things that affect society day to day, or just like in pop culture, things that are big issues that we all are really tired of. Just kind of try to find a place for that within the album that it'll be, or EP that it'll be in. And each one is a different, I guess, circle of hell. So each one will have correspondence with some aspect that has some relation to what's within that circle of hell. We're going on to Heresy next, so it's gonna be a big one.
What was the first EP theme?
It was Treachery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So each one will follow up. It's 7 stages or 7?
There's 9.
Okay, 9 of them.
Yeah.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning to do them in order and then continue on that theme?
Somewhat, yeah. It's almost like a reverse telling of the Divine Comedy, like Dante's Inferno. So instead of Dante coming down, descending through the levels of hell, it'll be hell ascending through the levels to get up to earth. And that's when it comes to us. And then we'll go from there, I guess.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you ever find it hard to like differentiate the writing style between the two bands?
At first, yeah, it was a bit complicated because of the major differences between, I guess, down tempo or beat down deathcore to metalcore. Metalcore's a lot more pop culture centric. It's very easy to rack up fans, or I guess not just fans, but people who are more interested in that kind of music than it is within such a small niche as deathcore, especially a subgenre of deathcore.
The sound itself from Plantkiller's, I want to say the first album that I heard, to what you guys have recently put out with the last album, is totally different.
Yeah. It's almost intentional, because as you climb through the layers of hell, obviously when you go down through the levels of hell, it's supposed to get more terrifying and more horrific, kind of terrible. But in our aspect, it's hell coming up. And even though we're going through different layers, it's just all hell anyways. So we just want to make it more and more terrifying as it climbs those rings to come up and greet us.
As a vocalist, as a metal vocalist too, you have to be on top of your vocals. You have to be constantly practicing and coming up with new techniques. How long has it taken you to master those techniques alone, and are there any other techniques that you're currently like working on?
It's probably been my whole life that I've been practicing just sound effects. From as a kid, you're shooting your machine guns or shooting pistols and rocket launchers and everything. But I also had Hot Wheels, so a lot of it was just like practicing different sound effects growing up as a kid. It sounds really like funny and silly, but honestly, I believe that's probably what got me started in all that. And then just my love for singing, I kind of just almost combined the two. A lot of COVID was me just practicing because there were no shows. Everything was shut down. So it went from the Treachery style. Treachery and Fraudulent was released just after, I guess, COVID or mid-COVID. And we had started working on Violence. And there was a kind of transition period where we put out two songs that we had started two songs that sounded like they should have been from the previous EP, and my vocals had already evolved into, I started listening to more like Infant Annihilator than I had previously. I heard of Worm Shepherd. I'd been listening to Lorna Shore some, and even just like staying involved in like new releases, like listening and kind of just trying to copy or just like have a sense of how to do that, even in my own way, make it sound how I would sound if I tried to make that noise. But yeah, Alex is a huge help with that, because sometimes I'll do a take and I'll say, man, that really sucked. I did not like that. And then Alex says, hold on. And then we play it back, and it actually does sound good, because it sounds different in your own ears than in a microphone, right? So it's all about the waiting game sometimes.
As you're evolving through these layers of hell that you describe, it's inevitably going to get to like a softer version of hell. Do you ever think that you're going to add like clean vocals into any of your songs with Plantkiller or Muscle Crow?
There's kind of been a thought of adding the cleans every once in a while, but it for me, it has to be perfect, because I'm very picky with especially how I sound. I don't want to release something that I'm like, really questioning, especially since I'm actually not nowhere near as comfortable singing than I am screaming. For whatever reason, making almost demonic noises or monstrous noises is way less nerve-wracking to me than actually singing. So I guess it'll take the right track. We almost want to do a ballad for Muscle Crow, which is where I think I'm going to start. We want to do something that's a little bit more softer for Muscle Crow. And then maybe if that's nice and I'm comfortable with that, then we can figure out how we can fit it into Plantkiller.
What's been the biggest challenge for you as a vocalist to get to where you are today?
Honestly, the lack of venues in Kelowna, probably. I know it has nothing to do with me being a screamer, but it does in all totality. You end up in a place where you either play a Wednesday night at an extremely small venue. No disrespect to the venue, it's what we have to, work with right now. But all the bigger venues, they charge a lot more, and then they're always booked on the weekends. So getting that just actual practical work in is really important, in my opinion. You can practice, play jams all day long, but if you have nerves on stage, it all goes to hell. So as long as you're able to, get that actual work in on stage and have the feedback from people, they come up to you and they give you that extra little morale boost. They help you out with they buy your merch, and you're actually feeling good about it. The more you get into each show one after another, it doesn't have to be, every week or every month even, but 6, 7, 8 shows a year, that's awesome. And that's really honestly all you need, in my opinion.
What's been your biggest or most memorable moment being a vocalist?
Yeah, okay. I actually have an answer right away for this one, which I love, because it was like my dream when I started Plantkiller. With Alex, we met one day at, I think it was Fernando's or something like that, before they shut down, and there was a nice show. There was a few bands playing, and I met him across, and he was just sitting across the table for me, and he just asked me, "Who's your favorite vocalist?" And I was like, "Oh wow, this guy's he knows I'm into metal. That's crazy. I mean, you're at a metal show, what do you expect?" But it was always my dream. After that moment, I was like, maybe this guy can be my bandmate. And just somewhere in there, he'll be able to work on. Little did I know he was a full-on music producer and did everything in between. Even sings a bit too. The guy's super talented. But it was always my dream to play shows with Angel Maker, or another big band, eventually Job for a Cowboy, or open for a Cannibal Corpse somewhere, or something like that, But at the top of my list, because I loved them so much at the time, was Angel Maker. And a couple of years ago when we released Violence, we had a show with Angel Maker and I Declare War. And we opened for them, and we were unbelievably hyped. We went a little overboard on the social media thing, because we didn't really know. We'd never played with any massive bands so intimately before. And so we were like, "Guys, help us. You got to tag these guys and let them know, and please." And then it actually came to fruition. And from the beginning of hearing we may have a shot at playing with Angel Maker because they're still looking for an opener, I had the best feeling in my head. I was like, we need this. This is my dream from the beginning, pre-COVID, let's go, So it happened. And that's not the end of my dreams, but it was definitely a big achievement for me, for sure.
What's your next goal? What's something that you would love to achieve personally as either a musician or as a person?
When it comes to releasing EPs or albums, I want to try to do them every 1.5 to 2 years. Hopefully closer to the 1.5 year mark. But our last album almost took us 3 years. But that's also, there's a lot of things in the way. Muscle Crow was in there at some point, putting the brakes on a little bit. Alex has his own 3,000 projects he works on. And then there's just everybody else in between trying to get everything to work together. So there are speed bumps every now and again, but that's probably my next biggest goal, is just to get the on target scheduled album drops, increase our ad revenue a little bit, hopefully with some new merch lines. I've been doing a little bit of handmade designing for some Muscle Crow and Plantkiller stuff.
Oh, sweet.
So eventually just release something that really pops off, because we've got some really good ideas. We've got a couple of demos in the works right now. I've got I think 3 more Plantkiller instrumentals I got to write lyrics to, and I think 3 or 4 Muscle Crow instrumentals I got to write to. So pretty busy future coming up here.
Do you have to be in a certain mindset to write vocals?
I think so, for sure. Especially since I have ADHD, it's very hard sometimes for me to actually keep focused on it. Because if I hear somebody call my name behind me, or somebody's playing an interesting game or something on TV and I hear a noise, if I'm not medicated, that's where my brain goes and it keeps me distracted. But I've been really good at it, so only occasionally.
If I'm writing songs, if there's not a message that I want to say to the crowd and it's not being inspired by a song, I'm not writing to it.
Yeah.
And that's really difficult, because the boys are like, "Hey, well, we've got these songs." And I'm like, I'm not feeling inspired to write to that yet. Though.
Yeah.
Like, that one's on the back burner.
Yeah.
Keep going. Give me something good. So, do you ever find that you struggle with that?
Yeah, a lot of keeping things like prioritized is mostly the struggle with that, because Alex has so many projects going, and then I don't really have all that much, and I've only been practicing since about making music since 2019, practicing since about 2015. So it hasn't been super long for me, but just even still getting into the rhythm of that sometimes, is the struggle that I have with that.
Muscle Crow is about to go on your guys' first tour.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited, yeah. I love doing the Muscle Crow stuff. We've only, I guess, played the one show as of now, but it was a double duty show, so Alex and I both felt real good afterwards. And the mids are a lot easier to sustain, the mid-level vocals, in comparison to when I'm doing low gutturals or high screeches all the time, or tunnel throat vocals, or anything in between. The Muscle Crow kind of style is a lot easier to maintain and sustain through an hour, or 25-minute, half-hour set. Whereas if you're playing deathcore, by the end you sound like Corey Taylor. And there's no way in hell, unless you've been practicing and trying to make sure that you're clean and you're treating your throat real nice. And yeah, but who's got time for that?
I really enjoy the sound that you put off with Muscle Crow.
Thanks.
Like that, I really gravitate, not that I don't, I love Plantkiller's music, but I really gravitate more towards Muscle Crow with my own personal taste.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm a metalcore guy, but there's something about your vocals when I first heard the first track, Are You Not Entertained, when Alex showed me that and was like, hey, can you play guitar for us? And I was like, this is Thor? I was so confused because I'm so used to your Danny Filth almost high-esque screams, and then you go, and then you get this beautiful mid-range too, and I'm like, man. And it's crazy because most vocalists steer towards one. Mm-hmm. They don't have a big diverse range unless you're Will Ramos, or the guys who genuinely are meant to be vocalists. I feel you fall into that Will Ramos line where you're meant to be a vocalist. You're not.
Thanks.
You're not meant to you don't need to play guitar.
Yeah.
You're meant to front a band. You see you on stage and your technical ability as a vocalist, and you're like, this dude's got it. And that's the thing is it's difficult. Like you're saying, in a small town, how are you supposed to get out there and practice constantly? So it's nice to see that you guys are hitting the road, because I think Muscle Crow will pop off, and then Plantkiller will pop off because of Muscle Crow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's
totally
the same band.
Yeah.
When you're sitting at home and Alex has given you an instrumental, do they ever have a structure in their mind that you hear differently and you present the vocals and they're like, oh, okay, we have to change what we thought was a verse is now the chorus because that's where the vocals fit? Or do they just give you a fresh slate and say, okay, you pick what the verse is, what the chorus is?
Essentially, yeah. It'll mostly be just wide open, free territory for me to run. But a lot of it is he'll just give me the instrumental, I'll write to it, and then when I get to his house, if the lyrics don't fit, I'll switch something up. Oh, this would sound good, and I'll show him the lyrics, and I'll see, how do you think this sounds? And then if there is a spot where we're oh, this could have actually a really nice chorus here, then we'll throw that in. And then it's not just repetition chorus, it's A, B kind of stuff. Or something almost like dueling vocals. One part's high and one part's in lows, or vice versa.
Do you ever think that you'll do something that's not along metal lines? Would you ever want to be in a band that was not as metal, but maybe hardcore still?
Possibly. If anything, really, it would probably be somewhere along, I don't know, maybe a folk or a rock kind of area. I don't know really much about those genres, other than I've got a few bands that I like to listen to that are really inspiring vocally for me, especially with all their melodies and everything. The Backseat Lovers, They're awesome. I love those guys. Not very metal whatsoever, but I love the melodies. I love the whole vibe that they give off. And other like super heavy, really love Deftones, going more into like the alt kind of rock area. That's something that I would like to do, if anything. But that'll be, if anything, down the line quite a bit. So
I love that you brought up Deftones, because that's exactly where I'm going more with.
Yeah.
Is more Chino-esque, less screaming. Like
Totally.
I love what, like, I want to say Around the Fur, White Pony, Chino. You know what I mean? Like, I want to bring that, where he's got those like soaring, odd sounding vocals, and then all of a sudden just like punches you with the high screams.
Yeah.
And I think that's like what the boys are writing right now. It's this very Tool, Porcupine Tree, early Deftones, and it's like, it's weird. It's not Storm the Empire at all, which was like metalcore, which I always was focused on.
Yeah.
It's totally different. I'm always nervous
To
put it out as Storm the Empire. I've been like, guys, we have to rebrand.
Yeah.
Like, this is not Storm the Empire. And then they're like, but it is, because it's the same members.
Totally.
So it is kind of weird. Like, that's why I like music. We don't have these limits. And like, even you wanting to go to a different genre, well, sometime potentially would be a cool thing. I think folk would be like a wicked idea. Mm-hmm. I love folk so much, and like, I listen to so many different genres that actually influence my metal, and one of that is like European music, because it's like got that medieval classic sound to it.
Yeah.
That's what
Tavern
inspires.
stuff.
Yeah, and that's what inspires like the rhythms that I do in metalcore, because I'm not a good breakdown or heavy guitar player. I'm melody based.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where, like, I don't know. I love Alex's style, because he has so many different styles that he can work into whatever you guys write.
Yeah.
And then your ability as the vocalist to just have this complete freedom with the range that you have. I feel like I can't wait to see what you guys write moving forward as Muscle Crow. Mm-hmm. Where are you guys hitting on tour?
We're going to be playing in Kelowna, and then Kamloops and Chilliwack, and I believe in Vancouver as well. Really bad with dates and locations, but I've got them all written down somewhere.
I'm the same way.
So yeah, we got, I think, 4 locations we're gonna do, four shows.
That's awesome.
It's really big, honestly, as a metalcore band, to have some shows out there where there's a lot more dense of a population, especially since when we started Plantkiller, we played 3 shows and then COVID happened. And our 3rd show was at Pat's Pub in Vancouver. And then that was that for the rest of COVID, so.
Are you playing the Chill House in Chilliwack?
I believe so. That
Wicked
sounds
venue.
familiar.
Yeah, wicked venue. So, and like, Vancouver is probably a journeyman show, so you know that Colton's gonna go hard, because he's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see, like, the group of friends that we've had since the beginning now. Like, we brought Colton with Paramnesia down, and we played at Runaways, and now he's in Opal and Sky, and they're about to hit the States and go to Europe, and it's like, it's possible.
Yeah,
Where it's all possible for all of us. There's a shining eye watching the BC music scene ever since Spirit Box got picked up.
Yeah, totally.
And Spirit Box is not slowing down.
Yeah.
So people are like, what else is in BC? Opal and Sky just got picked up, and you're like, okay, Angel Maker's making it huge. It's like, just keep grinding. And I think that's the thing, is Rob McLaren said it best. Rob from High Horse and Lakeman, is that bands either have a 2-year shelf life, a 10-year shelf life, and if you make it past that 10 years, you've made it. Like, that is, you've made it. So realistically, you guys are creeping. Plantkiller's getting close to that 10-year mark.
Yeah, there'll be 7 this year, so.
You know what I mean? You're getting 3 years away, and that's usually, once you've hit that 10 years, is when things start to finally start rolling.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing to accept as a musician, is you got to put in so much back effort, as where a lot of the other, like, industries, you can get away with a handful of years of experience. It's like music, you got to put in like at least 20 years, 10 to 15 years of struggling, which is kind of really makes you see who wants it and who doesn't. Besides music, what other kind of hobbies do you have?
A lot of my hobbies are performed right here, sitting at this desk. I play a lot of video games, but I also love writing lyrics, poetry, kind of stuff like that. Nothing ever really gets released unless it's Plantkiller or Muscle Crow or something special requested, but a lot of it is also, I borrow a special iPad and pen, the Apple Pencil or whatever, and I've been drawing logos and just hand drawing designs, pictures, new ideas and stuff for concepts of bands that I have good ideas for and whatnot, and hopefully planning to put that onto either, shirts or actually put it into another band that wants the name. I'll just give it to them. I'm not looking for money or anything. I just think it's really cool that it's something that I've made and I'm proud of. So
It's really cool. Graphic designing is a challenging skill, especially doing logos.
yeah,
Like
I'm
band
brand
logos.
new at it, so I don't know jack squat about it, but it is fun. It is a lot of detailed and like very fine line work. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
It's cool to see. Like, do you have any other artistic skills that you use besides drawing and music? Like, do you paint at all?
No, I don't paint. I mostly draw, sketch, write.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I find that there's always, if you're a creative in one aspect, you tend to have a range of skills that you have.
Totally.
And drawing is one that I always say when I talk with painters or tattoo artists and stuff, is it boggles my brain how they can envision something in their head
Yeah.
and put it on paper, and it's so amazing.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like, I'm good at looking at something and tracing, like not tracing it on top, but being able to visually look at something and then do it onto paper.
Yeah.
So to come up with something from my mind is very it's intimidating.
Yeah,
And you see what people
absolutely.
do and you're like, holy, how do you even comprehend that? And like diving into photography a lot lately. Like, I've always done photography, but like being like, I want to do this. This is what I enjoy doing because it keeps me mentally here.
Yeah, I get
It's
that.
because I'm always so focused on the future, and it causes me so much anxiety
Yeah.
that like, oh, I'm gonna go do photos today, and I'm like, I sit in the moment and take 600 photos of birds,
Yeah.
and I go home and I'm like so calm and relaxed, and I'm like, this is something that I've been missing.
Yeah.
It's just something for me that I don't really have to necessarily like ask for approval of other people, or like, is this good enough?
Yeah.
It's just me for me.
Totally.
Being somebody who does sounds and is like, I assume has worked on vocals and different accents and stuff. Do you ever see yourself like potentially trying to do voice acting?
That's been a big kind of career goal and career kind of point that I want to be in, something that I could end up in a really nice role, like whether it's an animated show that I am a character, I play one of the voices or something. That's like a big time goal it'll be my whole life. I'm probably working towards that, but I'm also always trying to improve. So it's never too late, it's the internet's not going anywhere anytime soon. So yeah, a big time, long-term goal.
Well, I
for
was
sure.
going to say, because there's a lot of independent video games
Yeah.
that are looking for music, that they don't have to pay like crazy royalties to famous artists,
Yeah.
and who are always looking for voice acting, which is something that I always try to like talk to when I'm speaking with other musicians, as like, there's so many other different industries that we can utilize as musicians.
Absolutely.
And like, that's one that I would love to see, is like, you could totally have a Plantkiller song in like a new Doom, you know
Oh,
what I
that'd be
mean?
sweet.
Or something like that's so totally something that is doable, or along those lines of games, because they're always looking for music. So it's like thinking outside the box of like, how do we perform? Performing is great, but like for the people who want not longevity, but like to be able to make it a career as an artist, as a vocalist, like there's so many different avenues, not just a musician, but as a person who's naturally gifted with their throat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like, voice acting is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's actually becoming a lot more predominant. You see a lot more famous actors doing it,
Absolutely.
and it's kind of because cartoons and animation is just not going anywhere.
No. Like
So-
Invincible, all the like star-studded cast that they have. And there's Arc. It's no longer, I don't think it's a thing anymore, but it was a little bit. They had a star-studded cast there too. All these like anime shows that are becoming more popular, that's a huge genre that's going to be, I think, looking for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to see what we grew up with, playing video games, and they were very frowned upon, becoming like one of the most like utilized industries in the entire world because of their animation skills and the things that they're able to do. It's pretty captivating. And like, as a person who loves playing video games and has spoken with people who and dabbled into like not graphic design but animation, like the skill sets they have to animate anything is insane.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's one thing I would love to dive into is animation, to do like animated music videos, because like that's one thing I'd love to be able to do that's not cheesy, like green screen videos. You're like, oh, it's dope, but it's like comes out looking like Creed, you know what I mean? Like, so I find it entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your plans over the next year? Like, what are your main goals for your bands and your music for the next year?
Well, we're going to be releasing, hopefully this year, most likely later in the year, Plantkiller's new album. And we want to play a few new shows, you know. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves, and we still want to give Muscle Crow the ability to gain traction and grow and kind of get where they need to go. And then same with Muscle Crow, where I don't know if we're necessarily planning on a new EP yet, but we have a few new instrumentals that we're working on, and we want to keep doing the traditional, we sit down, watch a good, you know, Russell Crowe movie, and write down some notes and have a couple beers. Just keeping it chill.
Can you please put a breakdown call from South Park? Just because it's
Fighting Around the World, for sure.
Not even just like, oh my God, it's Muscle Crowe. Boom! And it hits you hard. If you had any advice for an aspiring vocalist, how to get their feet into the industry in any genre, what advice would you give them?
Right now, join online groups, whether it's discussions on like Reddit or Facebook, Instagram. Join pages and comment, make friends with people who are already maybe close to or in that zone, because it's the music scene's all about connections. It's all about who you're going to talk to next and where that can take you, and not necessarily just piggybacking, you know, like you make friends with these new people and suddenly, oh, I didn't know you're also a huge fan of Star Wars. Wow, that's crazy. And then you guys are tight, you know, and then next thing you know, you're writing deathcore songs together or something like that. But in my mind, anybody can scream. You just have to be willing to dedicate yourself to it, because it is difficult, but all it takes is the dedication over like just a significant amount of time. If you got no other hobbies going on, make weird noises. Yeah, people are going to laugh at you unless you got a car. Then you're just on your way to work, you know, copy your favorite bands you want to sound like. That's what I did when I started practicing. I had a 6-disc CD changer in my Tacoma, and I would drive from Best Buy to Black Mountain every day listening to Carnifex, Tooth Grinder, Enterprise Earth, who else? Parkway Drive, Beartooth, you know, like all these bands that I thought I wanted to sound like, but they actually ended up giving me my own foothold to get into a whole different genre altogether. Because that's actually the genre I didn't realize I was into, was deathcore. So, yeah.
That's awesome advice. It's funny that you gravitated towards a genre that you didn't initially think. And I think that's kind of a testament to your skill level too, right? Because you're constantly going to be trying to push yourself. So I think it's really cool advice. I want to thank you for your time and your story. It's been great to actually sit down, and usually we're so busy at shows that we never get to sit and talk and just sit down for like an hour. Yeah,
there's always somebody tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, I need to buy a shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to sit down and chit chat and to like get to pick your mind, because in my eyes, you're probably one of the most gifted vocalists out of the Okanagan, if not one of BC.
Thank you, man. Thank
you. You've pushed. I've like seeing your evolution to hearing where you are now is mind blowing and inspiring. It makes me like I've always been like, I need to be more like Thor as a vocalist. Like the boys, I've told them many times, I'm like, that dude is just insane. So It's great to sit down and get to like pick your mind and how you approach music as a musician.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you
it very much.
And if you guys want to be a guest on the show, there will be a QR code at the bottom of the screen that you can scan. It'll take you to a folder or a file that you can fill out, and we will be in contact with you. I want to thank you once again, and I thank you guys. I'm Robb O'Day, and this has been On Location Story Hive on Location Kelowna, and we'll see you guys next time.